Political prediction for 2026. Stu, what do you think? Because we're in a sketchy place politically. I don't know about you guys. I feel like I live in fucking Orwell 1984.
Labour fucking get booted off, get ousted. You know, we have to go do a what's it called? I think election. A spike. Is it a spike election? When they just do it automatically.
Spot
What's the word?
election.
Oh, they just basically they just say, "Well, we're going to do it." I just can't see him lasting the year. I couldn't see him lasting the year last year. I mean, this is getting embarrassing now with all these U-turns he's making. I know it's just embarrassing how his backbenchers actually go out there and go on the telly and try and support him. It's just embarrassing for him, the whole party. I know everyone's sort of thinking Reform are going to make it, but I'm sort of going to think Conservatives are going to get back in, which wouldn't be a bad thing. Or it would be a what's it called? Coalition, yeah. Where Farage gets himself on the table as sort of deputy would be interesting. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I just can't see Labour doing another year. We'll see what happens at the spring budget.
Interesting you said that. I have a very specific prediction of what I think is going to happen, and it's somewhat similar. D, what do you think will happen politically?
Well, there is a big political event in Wales right now, which I know you guys think, because we have a different parliaments cycle compared to England. So this is hot topic right now in Wales, and at the moment Labour are in power, but all the polls suggest that they ain't going to be in power, which would be the first time in Wales for forever. Like that would be a massive event if they don't get back into power. And they, at one point, Reform was leading in the polls, which everybody, because no one knows what that would be like. But at the moment, the latest poll shows that Plaid Cymru is leading in the polls, which which are a bit more left again. So that they would probably want to turn Wales, but as they call it, into a nation of sanctuary. So their policies on immigration, all that sort of stuff would be probably even more extreme than Labour's. But from a business point of view, the theory is that there'll be a lot more houses need to be built. So they've got more ambitious targets for social and affordable housing. And
I was going to say, you want more left-wing politics, right? Because you want more left-wing politics because it gives you more of a budget. Yeah, it survives on it.
My business thrives on that sort of left-wing politics stuff. So
government handout.
Yeah, I think for me, whether it's Labour or Plaid Cymru, my business, particularly because it's social, affordable, and disabled-led, it's going to do quite well. Theory.
All right, my prediction, yeah, and I spoke about this in November with the guys internally, and I still stick to this prediction because of how much I think Rupert Lowe is our only option to save the country. Rupert Lowe is independent, right? And he's done that strategically, and he's said about how he's done this strategically, so he can retain his independence, build Restore as a almost a marketing piece, as a brand that talks through policy and helps use public awareness to force through policy in the major parties. He's done that so that he can stay on the fence as to where he puts his eggs when it comes to it. And what I think will happen is there will certainly be a coalition forced on both sides of the fence, on the left and the right, because Labour are fucked and they have no choice but to create. But they have the seats, and I think there'll be a coalition with the Greens and the Lib Dems that will give them a larger voting demographic and the strength of the seats they want. That will force the right to have to do the same. So Reform and the Tories are going to have to form a coalition. They don't really have a choice. And obviously the Tories come with a bit more legacy, more deeper ties into the civil service and things like that, and Reform need that. But the Tories, I don't think, will ever accept Farage as PM. So I'm certain Rupert Lowe at that point will make his strategic move to work with the Tories to bring in the popular vote of Reform, create a coalition where Rupert Lowe sits at the top, and Rupert Lowe will be our next PM. Do I think that'll happen in 2026? I can't see Labour making it. I just cannot see how the public don't burn the streets down with the way that Starmer's moving this government. So if it happens, I think we'll see a quick manoeuvring.
One devil's advocate on that, which typically happens just with, if you think about the time scale, right? So providing nothing happens, as Stuart says, where they get overturned mid-term, really, the public's mind is like a goldfish. Yeah, it is. and we live in the now moment. And once the Labour Party got in, they're basically in until 2029, effectively, 2029. And if they start, they've got another 2 years from now before they really need to start bringing in good policies. And in the last year, if they don't get overturned, all they need to do is start bringing in some really good stuff in the next after 18 months from now. And that's how they would bring it back. And just playing devil's advocate, and now we're just because they will, when they get closer to 2029, they're going to change their campaign to start pleasing the public again. So
but you're assuming that it's only political rhetoric that has any weight here. The economy, taxation, the exodus of millionaires and jobs, the lowest unemployment for youth, like these things don't last. And also the Orwellian society they're trying to create with the digital ID that's been somewhat backbenched, this new stuff about banning X, about access to, in April, they're pushing for access to all of our private communication channels so government can monitor everything we say on anything, on any platform in the UK. They're going to instigate a massive backlash from the.
I agree, but unless something happens in terms of absolute civil turmoil, they're not going to get kicked out realistically. But if they did, like Stuart said, then yeah. But other than that, the other guys got no chance again until 2029, and by then, God knows what they could change.
Yeah, I mean that's a scary thought.
That whole list you just read off there, and this whole problem is because they're all desperate to print more money. Printing money solves all those problems short term, which is that feeling you get, like you said, the goldfish mind of the public is that as soon as you print money, everyone goes, oh, we're back in the bull market. We can now be secure in our jobs. We can invest. We can buy holidays, goods and services. They're all waiting for the Fed to do it. All the governments are. So the US control this lever, which they are waiting. They're silently printing money. China's printing money. Their M2's gone through the roof. But as soon as the Fed do it, we'll then go, right, that's it, pressure's off. And but then inflation comes again and the whole wave starts again over the next sort of 4 years. So, yeah, it's mad to watch. It's crazy.
Let's see what happens, boys. But yeah, there's some predictions. Last two things. I know you've got to shoot, D, but come on, last two things.
I've got to catch a train. So otherwise I'm going to be late for London.
They'll wait. Call ahead.
Oh, wait, yeah, just turn
really fast.